Thank you for joining us on her review today. I am Cynthia Latu. Let's have a look at what made headlines this week. Officials of the Ministry of Finance unveiled the Southwest Region's quarter of the 2024 state budget at over 22 billion francs CFA. The ceremony to this effect unfolded simultaneously with the official launch of the state budget by the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Motaze, in Maura. Plus, President Paul Biya appoints Gole Philip Ngwase, one-time Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, as Cameroon's High Commissioner to Ghana. His appointment coincided with the two members of the Constitutional Council and senior divisional officers, as well as Secretary Generals to some key regional and divisional structures. Those are the headlines. Many thanks for joining us. You have the details and more in a moment. Thanks for choosing High Television. The 2022 state budget of the Southwest region stands at over 22 billion francs CFA. This was revealed during the launch of this year's public investment budget in the region. Key developmental projects earmarked for this year include road construction, water provision, as well as other infrastructural development. Alice Kamelik here was present during the ceremony and now reports.
Tradition to launch the state's budget at the beginning of each year in Cameroon. At the regional level, this activity took place recently in the Southwest region. The governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okalia Bilai, chaired over the 2 days event as he officially launched the budget for the state and other entities for the 2024 fiscal year.
I mentioned it in my speech that money is not kept somewhere in a coffer. Money is to be produced locally by the economic activities. I mean, paying taxes from taxation, from custom offices, and many other activities, tourism, hotels. It is the money produced by those activities that can finance the budget. But if we are maneuvering to avoid paying the taxes, we will not be capable to execute smoothly this budget.
According to His Excellency the Governor, this money is to be gotten through the various economic activities in the region.
The region, the Southwest region, has a very important economic potential. We must exploit that potential to produce necessary inputs for the execution of our budget.
He also emphasized on a stop to the ghost town phenomenon, which is disturbing economic activities in the region.
I mentioned the phenomenon of ghost town. Ghost town. People who say ghost town, they want to kill the economic activities. They want to disturb. How long will we accept this nonsense phenomenon? We must stop it.
Over 22 billion allocated. Stakeholders responsible with the allocation of the budget are called upon to be disciplined in the execution.
So the message of the minister is discipline for stakeholders who are involved with the execution of the budget and respect for procedures to execute this budget.
Administrative authorities and stakeholders of the region were all present at the event.
In the same light, 71 billion francs CFA is the budget on which the Northwest region will run for the year 2024. The public investment budget was made known by senior financial experts from the Ministry of Finance in Yaoundé. Their stakeholders appreciated the region for accurate execution of projects in 2023. Rita Mafani has more.
The different key holders of the Northwest region have convened a meeting with the finance experts from the Ministry of Finance in Yaoundé for the launching of the region's share of the 2024 state budget, standing at over 71 billion CFA francs.
It's important for every stakeholder found in the chain of execution to be part of this monthly execution or monthly follow-up meeting for the execution of the budget and the execution of the public investment budget. Because during these consultations, there are a lot of information as well as data that are obtained in terms of the ongoing investments in the region, and without this participation by the councils, by the mayors, and by the regional authorities, it will be very difficult.
The occasion that saw the presentation of both the public investment budget and the Northwest Region State's budget has a remarkable 24.4% increase.
The public investment budget for this year stands at more than 1,621.1 billion francs, which constitutes up to about 24.8%. That marks an increase from last year's budget and last year's investment budget. We have
Despite being a volatile region, the economy expert lauded the region for rating the execution of the budget and its projects.
Also, we appreciate the early execution of the budget because we have noticed that some of the difficulties stem from the fact that there are very late contractual processes that are engaged upon. And so it makes it difficult to respect timelines because when the contracts are awarded,
the allocation of the state budget at the region involves all the nooks and crannies of the Northwest region.
The Northwest region. I know the context of which we find ourselves is a difficult context. And if the state allocates the budget for the region, we have to do everything it takes to facilitate, to make sure that this budget is executed. Time for us, the stakeholders of the region, to facilitate the process of awarding this contract.
The special meeting was lauded by the different participants as the region's development agenda can be put forward and direct.
Let's now talk about health. 3 health districts in the southwest region in Limbe, Tiko and Mamfe will administer the new malaria vaccine RTS. The new malaria vaccine will be launched in Cameroon on January 22. Let's have greater details about this vaccine in the following interview conducted by High Television with the Southwest coordinator of the fight against malaria.
Oben Pamela, I coordinate the expanded program for immunization for the Southwest region of Cameroon. And I'm talking to you today about the malaria vaccine introduction. When we talk about the malaria vaccine, what are we talking about? We're talking about an additional tool that has been put in place by the government to fight malaria. The malaria vaccine is the first vaccine. We're talking about the RTS vaccine in this case, the first vaccine that has been introduced in the world, but also in Cameroon to fight malaria. It is a tool that will be added in collaboration with chemo prevention, with the intermittent preventive treatment for malaria, and also with sleeping under treated mosquito nets to be able to fight this disease that is very, very predominant in the country. Looking at the Southwest region, we are envisaging introducing this vaccine to some health districts. We're talking about the district of Tiko, the district of Limbe, and the district of Mamfe, because these districts have a high predominance in terms of morbidity and mortality to malaria. We see that these districts are also other districts that are very good in terms of following through with routine immunization. So it will be a good opportunity that all the vaccine doses for malaria, I'm looking at the first dose, which is administered at 6 months, the second dose at 7 months, the third at 9 months, and the fourth at 24 months to be administered successfully in these districts. Now, the malaria vaccine is not the first of its kind to be administered in Cameroon. We're looking at a vaccine that has taken, first of all, a long time to be developed, over 60 years of development and research on the malaria vaccine, and 30 years for this particular vaccine, the RTSS vaccine we're talking about. And pilot phases have been conducted in other African countries such as Malawi, Ghana, and Kenya, where over 2 million children have been vaccinated. So in summary, this vaccine is very safe, it's effective, and has shown to be able to reduce the number of hospitalizations and various severe forms of malaria that are very predominant in children, such as anemia. We're also looking at the number of hospitalizations that have been significantly reduced following administration of this vaccine. So we are looking forward that when this vaccine is administered to our children in this district and also in other districts who will be receiving the vaccine subsequently, there will be reduction of this burden in malaria. The administration of the malaria vaccine also gives opportunity to reinforce administration of other EPI vaccines, but also intermittent preventive treatment, which is an effective strategy that is being used to combat malaria in children below 5 years. By going to the hospital at 6 months, 7 months, 9 months and 24 months, these children will not only be able to receive the malaria vaccine, but it will be an opportunity to evaluate and see whether they are receiving their IPT, intermittent preventive treatment, correctly, whether they are receiving the other vaccines in the EPI program correctly. Also an opportunity to look at their nutritional status and to be able to ensure that these children are well protected. Like I earlier mentioned, the malaria vaccine introduction is going to commence in these 3 priority health districts because of their high burden, but it's also going to extend to other districts in the Southwest region to ensure that all our children are protected against this deadly and very endemic.
5 district hospitals across the Northwest and Southwest region have benefited from the donation of hospital beds by a non-governmental organization, US-based, called Friendship Circle. The donation exercise is in a bid to boost and develop the health sector of these 2 regions in the country, as it tells us Jabi Katie.
50 hospital beds distributed to 5 district hospitals in the Southwest and Northwest regions of Cameroon to improve the quality of health care. Donated by Cameroonian diasporans in the United States of America who have come together under the umbrella of the Friendship Circle.
We do not forget our roots. We've been out there, some of us have been out there for so long, but we know where home is home. So we decided to come back home with multiple beds for multiple hospitals.
The hospital beds were officially handed over on Wednesday, January 17, to the beneficiaries, namely the My 16 Integrated Health Center Boya, the Bobende Integrated Health Center Limbe, the Tiko District Hospital, the Bengui District Hospital, and the Moyoka District Hospital. The handing over ceremony took place at the Tiko District Hospital, chaired by the representative of the governor of the Southwest region, Mr. Kemgong Desiree, alongside other administrative and political heads.
Moyoka District Hospital has been one of those hospitals that has suffered within the ongoing socio-political crisis. Parts of the hospital were even burnt back then in 2019. Some of the beds in the hospitalization wards were burnt. We thank God that this has just gone a long way to bring in new, fresh equipment for the hospital.
It will go a long way to help my community. The Bolifamba community is really happy. This donation has come at the right time for us because we are really in need of beds, especially modern beds, because we had the old beds which are not really good and comfortable for patients.
The members of the Friendship Circle have promised provision of other medical supplies in the weeks ahead to accompany the birds. Meanwhile, it is hoped that the hospital authorities meticulously use these hospital beds for the population to have the best of health care.
Away from health, market vendors in Tiko and Kumbar have frowned at local authorities castigating against the heaps of dirt deferred across their business spaces. They called on them to redouble effort in solving the sanitation situation. Aisha Mbeng spoke with them in our report.
As the nation works towards ameliorating the living standard of the population, hygiene and sanitation of towns and markets should also be a priority. The cleanliness of markets is an aspect usually not taken at high consideration. The dirt rampantly littered at the entrance of markets and inside the market has become a call for concern as it causes pollution to the environment, which affects and contaminates foodstuffs like vegetables, tomatoes, plantains, and others. Despite the fact that these waste products are poorly disposed by market vendors, some of them frown at the act and calls for action to be taken in the proper disposition of waste, which is not appealing to find where foodstuffs are sold. Organic matters and dirt affect the human health and prevent humans found around the surroundings to breathe in good air. This is why some hygiene and sanitation persons have taken upon themselves to dispose of these waste products.
Organic matter, they are not good for human health. We just say we should bin them and then call for them so they can come and remove all these things and let people breathe normal air, because we are not feeling well. I can see. I'm wearing cash name. I don't have corona, but the place is not conducive to breathe, so I need to prevent myself. So thank you very much. It was nice talking with you.
In order to promote the good health, sanitation, and well-being of the population, the people call on market vendors to dispose of their waste products properly, and to the hygiene and sanitation persons of the different towns to place trash cans in the markets and dispose of them when they are full, so that a better breeding ground can be created for the safety of all.
Still in the Southwest region, business women involved in smoking of fish in Limbe have expressed the difficulties they face on a daily basis to keep their businesses afloat. They have called on local authorities to come to their rescue, as it tells us Daniel Ikome.
Smoked fish is one of the highly consumed ingredients in Africa's delicacies, especially given its affordability. The process these traders go through to smoke the fish are sometimes difficult.
If I were to do it, we don't use solar system, so if the government can give us some solar system, we'll be so grateful for that.
These business women in Limbe comes as early as 6 a.m. just to get the first hand of what has been brought from the sea by the fishermen. The battle for some to grab a quantity is sometimes challenging. Just like wholesalers, the traders who buys to smoke them also face some problems. The problem we faced are many. Using firewood to dry the fish, and also on the fact that we scale large quantity annually and is time consuming. Given its high demand in Cameroon and the world, fishermen involved in this business call on the government to put in more effort so as to better the sector.
Away from that, we take on this sad incident as a computer repairer and businessman in the Southwest region died in the ghastly road accident that occurred earlier this week. His vehicle collided with a heavy-duty truck along the Tiko-Douala Way. Greater details with Larry Kelvin Yetengening.
The early hours of this Monday morning was a sad one for the family members and friends of late Njumu Cornelius, a computer repairer and business person operating in the Southwest region, who succumbed to the cold hands of death along the Tiko-Douala Highway as a result of a ghastly road accident. The head-on collision with a heavy-duty truck that left the red Adventist immatriculated Northwest 085 AT that left the set occupant and the state of the vehicle in a tattered manner. His remains were taken to a nearby mortuary, as all have been advised to be mindful the way and manner in which they plow the highway.
The Northwest Regional Assembly has welcomed a young dynamic Cameroonian, Fon Blaze, who has manufactured a motorcycle. The native from Noni subdivision from the Northwest region is based in Douala, where he has been practicing the craft of creating a motorcycle. Let's have the details with Larry Kelvin Yetengening once more.
He is Fun Blaise, a young dynamic welding engineer practicing in the country's financial hub of Douala, who has opened a new page in Cameroon's technological sector with the manufacturing of the country's first motorcycle.
The bike is nice and it's running well. There's no problem in it. Okay.
With an incurred cost between 400 to 500,000 francs and a purchasing power of 1 million francs, the young manufacturer deemed it necessary to present his product to the hierarchy of the Northwest Regional Assembly.
This is the first distance I have tested the bike into, but unfortunately I climbed the hill of off-station in less than no minute, which I myself I was still doubting, but unfortunately the bike proved to me that no, what I was doubting is not what I'm thinking about. So the bike, I climbed the hill so powerful. The bike was so powerful.
To the person who trained him in the said field is a quite satisfied gentleman whose former apprentice is now a success story.
This beginning, as I talk, I discovered this beginning yesterday. They don't make this bike we make at home. And I've been so impressed. So I will talk to somebody come for you, can't see me. Then tell me how we will start to make this bike, what will be the difficulties we get out to make this bike, and what way it will work. He want for only begin make these bikes, or he want for begin make any other thing. So I don't decide say I will commit for council for help this begin. But you will need what way you want for do. So I will talk with you, he tell me the difficulty, then I will see how for council will empower you, help you, for continue for this one way. But this one, it will make you not be idle. You don't be for town. At least the other brothers, they're there for bush. I want to encourage them to, through this work, make them come for town, kind of. And I'll be ready. We've been open a workshop for you.
Being the first of its kind in the nation, the Northwest Regional Assembly President and his team welcomed the idea and promised to assist the young man in all quarters. By so doing, they will be assisting the nation of Cameroon fulfill her vision of an emerging economy by 2035.
This is High Review, a rundown of the week's news-making events on High Television. You're welcome back. President Paul Biya has appointed some members to head Cameroon's diplomatic missions, senior divisional officers, secretary generals, and other local authorities in the country. Let's find out about who they are in the upcoming report compiled by Larry Kavani Tengening.
Yesterday, Thursday, 18 January 2024, the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, appointed former Minister of Forestry and Wildlife, Ngole Philip Ngwese, as Cameroon's High Commissioner to Canada. Prior to his appointment, the son from Kupe Maniguba Division in the Southwest region was the head of one of the committees of the Major National Dialogue and a member of the follow-up of the implementation of Major National Dialogue. Aside from his appointment, the President of the Republic equally appointed some 2 new members to head the Constitutional Council. Still, in the said presidential appointment, decrees were equally stipulated, appointing some senior divisional officers, secretary generals of governors' offices, and other key functions of the regions. For the Southwest region, Viang Mikala, who leaves Manu Division for Fako, to become the new senior divisional officer for the said division, while Shuaibu leaves Fako Division for the Nyong and Kili Division in the South region. For Manu Division, Alunfak Eliunu Yves Bertrand goes to Manu as a senior divisional officer.
Away from that, as technology advances, bringing together changes in habits, IT experts probe into the role of ICTs in educational enhancement. In the following report, Alice Komelikier spoke with ICT expert Florence. Let's follow on.
The world is becoming a global village, And as things are evolving, the Ministry of Secondary Education is doing all in her power to ensure that the system moves with time. Emphasis has been laid on the aspect of teaching computer science and information communication technology in secondary and high schools. This is very important in the life of these students as they can fit in any environment in which they find themselves. Computer science and information communication technology at the high school level should have the same number of hours as other main subjects, which is 8 hours per week. Computer science and information communication technology should be considered as a separate subject. Consequently, students of both subjects should not be combined. With these measures put forth by Minister Nalova Lionga, it will act as enhancer in the boosting and fast-tracking of a sustainable, tech-oriented Cameroon.
In other news now, the Chinese Prime Minister Chen Weishan has led a powerful Chinese delegation to Cameroon for a fruitful bilateral ties. On the day of his visit, the Chinese Vice Prime Minister was received in audience by President Paul Biya, where both men held strong conversations. After his audience, he descended to downtown Yaoundé, where he inspected some major projects that his government is into, key amongst which is the ongoing construction of the National Assembly building, as the Speaker, Honorable Kabayege Jibril, who thanked the Chinese government for being a true friend and all promise to continue to enhance their bilateral ties. The Eridef University Institute of Applied Biomedical Sciences, Boya, has carried out the pioneer matriculation ceremony, the badge of impact, as they were Christians and set to gain all sorts of skills and become job creators. Details with Alice Kamedi here.
Abide by the rules and regulations of the institute. By the power vested on me, I declare all these students duly matriculated at the HIAPS for the academic year 2023-2024.
This is the pioneer matriculation ceremony of Eridef University Institute of Applied Biodiversity Sciences, Boya. The aim of this institution is to train these students to become job creators.
Right, so they're like those who are going to give the image of this institute out to the people, so that they can, they can be those to attract other people to this institution to come and benefit from what they have benefited. Because we believe that they're going to gain a lot. Like we said, they're going to come out, armed a lot to be able to satisfy the job market, armed a lot to be able to create their own jobs.
As they enroll this day, they have to graduate with an already designated amount of money.
That they're here not just to read and pass and offer certificates, but what's more important is the jobs they have to create. So which means they have to go through 4 levels of training: academics, applied technology, industrial, and certification. The unique feature is that each graduate is going to graduate with a certain amount of money that will be used to set up his or her project on graduation. That's the unique feature, and so nobody is going to be left unemployed. Every single graduate will be employed.
The board of directors of the institution expects the institution to fulfill the objective of everybody.
We would expect that the pioneers of this institution will be producing results which will be impacting on the environment. For example, they are talking about fundraising, biodiversity, protection of the environment, especially as the resources are becoming so limited in the environment. So they will be talking about recycling of these resources in such a way that when the resources are recycled, they will continue to provide for the future environment for people who are yet to be born.
To the students, it is a privilege for them to enroll in this institution that has come to fill the gap that other institutions have not been able to fill.
Fundraising skills. They offer
technical skills and managerial skills. They also offer leadership skills, which train young and talented individuals not only to become job seekers but job creators. So I'm very proud to be one of the students of the institute.
HIAP seeks to produce leading-edge biodiversity management, professional corporate and entrepreneurial education to build a productive generation.
It is 53 years after the assassination of the nationalist and freedom fighter Ernest Nwandi under President Amadou Ahidjo's regime. His passion for immediate independence and reunification of the two Cameroons made him an enemy to France. Greater details with Larry Kelvin Etengening.
15 January 1971 in his native land of Bafoussam, the West region, was a sad day for all those who fought for the independence and reunification of then French Cameroon on 1st January 1960 as they saw their hero Ernest Nwandi being killed by the French soldiers. Being an active member of the first political party in then La République du Cameroun UPC, Ernest Nwandi was a trained teacher practicing in Ezeka in today's central region of Cameroon. Ernest Nwandi was court-martialed by the military tribunal in Yaoundé and sentenced to death.
Il demeure un mouvement franchement anticolonialiste et je dirais anti-impérialiste. Parce que l'UPC estime que la libération d'un pays du système colonial doit, si elle doit être réalisée, se faire de façon effective et totale.
During the colonial days, the French committed a lot of atrocities in the land, as one of the French soldiers recounts.
Je voulais voir cet officier qui était avec moi, c'était qu'il n'y ait surtout pas de comment dirais-je, de gens qui puissent aller raconter ça et qu'on puisse impliquer justement, comme il y avait encore quelques militaires français, qu'on puisse impliquer la France dans ces affaires-là.
Ernest Nwandi was an active freedom fighter who was mentored by Omniube, Félix Roland Mumi, who all were of the same political party, and later then Nelson Mandela of South Africa, who all contributed enormously in his struggle for a free and equitable Cameroon. Prior to his killing in 1971, Ernest Nwandi, Félix Roland Mumi moved to Kumba in then British Southern Cameroon for safety as they were persecuted. Being killed in what was then known as Carrefour Makiza that has transformed into Carrefour Mataya in Bafoussam, all those who held his vision were given a time warning that is, if you continue in your fight, you will definitely end up like Ernest Nwandi. Though killed some 53 years ago, his legacy and vision still remains and lives in the lives of many Cameroonians and Africans and the world at large.
We stay with you, Larry Kelvin Etengening, as you tell us that it is 1 year gone after the macabre incident that led to the death of journalist and station manager of Amplitude FM, Martinez Zogo. Many journalists in Cameroon and beyond remember the slain journalist whose mortal remains are still in one of the mortuaries in Cameroon. Your report.
It is 1 year after journalist and station manager of Amplitude FM, a Yaoundé-based private radio station, was kidnapped and later on his mutilated body found in Ebogo, a locality in the outstretch of Yaoundé. The late media personnel was a firm critic of the regime in place as he named and shamed suspected individuals involved in practicing corruption, embezzlement, and other vices in the nation. To his friends and colleagues, his killing was unthinkable.
The first thing we notice is the memorial in the lobby. When we see it, it makes us want to cry.
1 year after the death of Martinez Zogo, many practicing journalists in the nation haven't come to terms with what happened to the host of Embouteillage.
You can still hear Martinez Zogo in this studio between 9:30 a.m. and noon. We've decided to play recordings of his program because we want to immortalize his spirit. We will keep airing his show until we get justice for his assassination. His show, Embouteillage, will almost be the same, but will eventually get a new host.
Media personnel in the country who speaks out on certain vices in the nation have either been kidnapped or tortured.
It was here.
Ils m'ont fait enlever mon pantalon.
They made me take off my trousers. I was left naked, like a worm. One after the other, they hit me with stones. I started coughing up blood. I played dead, but they didn't stop. I lost consciousness and stayed there on the ground for about 30 minutes.
The 51-year-old native from the Lekki division in the Central region till his demise was loved and cherished by his listeners. The justice system in Cameroon that has been working for the past 1 year now to find justice to the slain journalist Martinez Zogo, as she has detained certain prime suspects, that is, businessman Jean-Pierre Amougou Bilinga and former intelligence chief Justin Danwe, with the different drama that has unfolded over the said case that has been popping up in Cameroon. The press in the nation too are quite active and vocal on the case, such that they need the justice system to administer justice to all the various perpetrators who contributed in one way or the other in the killing and kidnapping of slain journalist Martinez Zogo.
It is here that we draw the curtains on her review today. Many thanks for watching. I've been Cynthia Latter. Until we meet again next Saturday, God willing, to have a blessed weekend in the company of programs on High Television.